like the phone rings, we're not going to then.
Imagine you have a dream that you're falling from a cliff. Your hands are shaking, your palms are sweaty, and your heart's racing. And it feels like it was really real. Until you realize that you're safe in your bed. Even though none of this actually happened, your brain reacted like it did. This happens to everyone, and even if we don't remember, we each have dreams every single night. Understanding our dreams helps us to better understand our sleep, our memory, our emotions, and our mental health. So today I'm going to be talking about how our dreams are created, what happens inside our brain while we are dreaming, and the leading theories as to why we might dream. But before we understand our dreams, we need to understand our sleep. So, dreaming normally occurs mostly during the rapid eye movement part of sleep, or REM. During this part, our brains are almost as active as when they are when we are awake. Although our minds are active, our bodies are temporarily paralyzed, and this natural paralysis prevents us from physically acting out our dreams. REM begins when the brainstem sends signals that activate regions of our brain, and those regions stimulate visual images and emotional responses, which is why our dreams can feel so intense and real. Another factor is our brain chemistry. Neurotransmitters, or our chemical messengers, can change during REM, and these changes allow for the ideal environment for vivid imaginary dreams. So, let's examine what happens inside of our brain while we sleep. Several parts of our brains are working together, with the most active of those being the limbic system, which controls our emotions. And because it's so highly active, our dreams can contain emotions such as like happiness, sadness, fear, excitement, all of these things. And at the same time that this is happening, our visual cortex is active. And even though our eyes may be closed, it generates details of images such as people and places that can seem so realistic, almost as if you're watching a movie. But one part of our brain somehow becomes less active, and that part is our prefrontal cortex, which controls our logic and our reasoning and our decision making. And because it's not working at full capacity, this is why we have trouble distinguishing between what's real and fake in our dreams, and why these strange scenarios seem to like they're actually happening, like you're flying or whatever, you're talking to animals, whatever it is. There are many different theories as to why, and I'll get into some of those right now. So one of the earliest explanations is called activation synthesis theory, developed by Dr. J. Allen Hobson. And it states that dreams are created when the brain tries to make sense of random neural activity during our REM sleep. So basically, our brain tries to make sense of the random patterns that it's inputting. Another theory it's called memory consolidation, which is where dreaming organizes and strengthens our memories formed throughout the day. And as we sleep, our brain reviews these important experiences, useful information, and removes any unnecessary details. Research from Dr. Matthew Walker supports ideas that sleep and dreaming improve our learning and memory. Finally, a third explanation is emotional processing theory, which proposes that dreams help us to process our emotions and reduce our stress. Although scientists debate the exact purposes of our dreams, they all agree that dreaming is a normal and completely healthy part of our brain function. So to conclude, our dreams are created primarily during REM through complex neurological activity. We explored how different parts of the brain work together to create emotions, images, stories that we experience while dreaming. And finally, we looked at how the acting theories that suggest dreams help organize memories, process emotions, and make sense of brain activity. So next time you wake up and you're like, man, that was a really crazy dream that I had, remember that your brain was actively working all throughout the night. And while science hasn't completely come up with all the theories, we do know that it's completely healthy and completely normal to have dreams. Thank you.